In a world where politeness and grace are seen as social virtues, we often find comfort in the company of those who seem endlessly kind, calm, and generous. They smile at the right time, never raise their voice, and present an image of composed perfection. But Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and pioneer of analytical psychology, offers a disturbing warning. Sometimes the most dangerous individuals are those who appear to be flawless. This unsettling idea forces us to reconsider what true psychological health looks like. According to Jung, the individuals we should be most cautious around aren't the overtly aggressive or visibly toxic ones, but rather those who hide their flaws so well that not even they are aware of them. These individuals have lost contact with a vital part of their psyche, the shadow, the persona, the mask we all wear. To grasp Jung's insight, we must first understand his concept of the persona. The persona is the social mask each of us wears, the version of ourselves we curate and display to the world. It allows us to function within society, to be polite, agreeable, dependable, and successful. But Jung warned of a common and subtle danger: identifying too closely with this mask. When a person believes that their persona is their entire self, they begin to deny the rich, chaotic, and often uncomfortable truths that lie beneath it. This denial doesn't make those truths disappear. It simply buries them in the unconscious, where they begin to grow in power and volatility. The shadow, the other side of the self. Beneath the surface lies what Jung called the shadow, the part of our psyche that contains everything we refuse to see or accept in ourselves. This includes dark traits like envy, rage, selfishness, and fear. But the shadow is not entirely negative. It also includes our wild creativity, raw instincts, suppressed desires, and unapologetic authenticity. The shadow is shaped early in life. As children, we quickly learn which traits bring love and which invite rejection. If we were told that anger was bad, we hid it. If sensitivity was mocked, we toughened up. If ambition was labeled as arrogance, we buried it. These traits didn't vanish. They simply went underground, shaping the unconscious part of our identity. But the repressed doesn't die. It leaks through, in dreams, projections, addictions, sarcasm, and breakdowns. Jung famously said, "What you do not make conscious will be lived out as fate." This means the more unaware we are of our shadow, the more it will control us, from behind the scenes, without our consent. The polished mask and the storm beneath. Now imagine someone who has never faced their shadow. On the outside, they appear peaceful, agreeable, and even saint-like. They're always polite, never angry, and speak with grace. But underneath, there's a growing storm, a sea of unacknowledged emotions and unmet needs. Their perfection isn't a sign of psychological maturity, but of deep repression. This is the most dangerous type of person, according to Jung, not because they intend harm, but because their disconnection from their inner reality makes them unaware of how they affect others. They justify manipulation as protection, control as care, and cruelty as tough love. They are always on the right side, always morally justified. But underneath this glow of righteousness is a volcano waiting to erupt. Passive aggression, the language of the repressed. These individuals don't express their shadow through overt violence or hostility. Instead, their darkness surfaces in subtle ways: sarcasm, silent treatment, passive-aggressive comments, or controlling behaviors masked as concern. When you question or challenge them, they don't explode. Instead, they erode your confidence slowly. You begin to doubt your instincts, suppress your needs, and tiptoe around their expectations. Their mask remains intact, so any tension gets redirected toward you. You might hear phrases like, "I'm only saying this because I care," "I never get angry," Everyone says I'm the nicest person. I'm just trying to help you. Your body feels the mismatch before your mind can understand it. You feel unease, but can't explain why. That's your nervous system responding to the split between their external image and the buried truths they've never faced. The danger isn't in darkness, it's in denying it. One of Jung's most profound insights is that darkness itself isn't dangerous. In fact, those who recognize their flaws and struggles are often the safest to be around. They have humility, self-awareness, and a willingness to grow. The truly dangerous people are those who deny the existence of their shadow. They claim perfection, moral superiority, and righteousness, while their repressed parts seep out sideways. Their refusal to look inward becomes a form of spiritual blindness, a dangerous innocence that curdles into venom without ever meaning to. This is where the real threat lies, not in people who admit their flaws, but in those who pretend they don't have any. How to protect yourself from shadow denial. The best defense is awareness, not just of others, but of yourself. Your intuition is a powerful tool. If something feels off in a relationship, even if the other person seems kind and calm, trust that feeling. Your gut often detects what your mind hasn't yet articulated. Listen to the unease. Not every polite person is safe. Not every smile is sincere. Some of the most emotionally harmful people come cloaked in kindness because they've never confronted their own truth. Their goodness is a performance, not a reality. But protection doesn't stop at avoiding these people. The deeper, more transformative work is internal. Know your own shadow and you'll spot theirs. When you understand and integrate your own shadow, you become immune to others' manipulations. You're no longer triggered by their games or fooled by their masks. You see them for who they are, not out of judgment, but clarity. To meet your shadow is not to become darker, it's to become whole. You no longer need to pretend, project, or manipulate. You no longer fear the parts of yourself that were once hidden. Instead, you own them, work with them, and find strength in them. This self-awareness makes you powerful, and in that power, you're far less likely to fall under the influence of someone who hasn't yet met themselves. The journey from denial to wholeness. It takes courage to look inward. It takes humility to say, yes, I can be selfish, reactive, or insecure, and I'm working on it. That's the kind of person Jung would say is psychologically healthy. Not flawless, but integrated. Those who refuse this journey remain fragmented. Their perfection is a lie, and their relationships often suffer because of it. They may never change, because change would mean admitting that their image is a mask they've grown too attached to. But you can choose differently. You can face what they avoid. You can explore the terrain of your own unconscious and uncover the parts of you that were once buried in shame or fear. You can bring light to your darkness and become whole. Final thoughts. Knowing yourself is protection. Carl Jung's teachings are not just psychological concepts. They are spiritual warnings and invitations. He invites us not just to understand others, but to understand ourselves. In doing so, we become immune to illusion, both in others and in ourselves. The most dangerous sign in a person isn't their anger or cruelty. It's their claim to perfection. It's their insistence that they're always good, always right, always kind, without ever examining the cost of such an identity. Your task is not to change them. Your task is to see clearly, feel deeply, and live authentically. When you do that, you move beyond fear and into self-possession. You become whole.